Before there was ever a Tyler Perry studio in Atlanta, there were two men in Hollywood who looked at a door marked closed and decided to build their own house. One maxed out his credit cards to give us dignity, the other built a comedy army to give us sovereignty. Welcome back to Cinema Versus. Today we're talking about the blueprint. On one side, we have the soulful architect, Robert Townsend, and on the other side, the comedy mogul, Keenan Ivory Wayans. Two legends, two styles, and one legendary battle. Let's get into it. What's up? What's good? And what's poppin', fam? And welcome back to my channel. If this is your first time being here, first of all, hey, Professor Ogilvy! Hello! Thank you so much for being here. My name is Top Cat. I am your YouTube personality, your cinema grill, and your reactionary guadzad. And welcome to Cinema Versus. Thank you for being here. You could have been anywhere on Beyonce's Gonna Internet, but you are here with me, and I appreciate you for that. So if at any point that you like what you see upon your black screen, if you can do me a favor and hit that subscribe button down there and join the Famberland, because baby, we are obviously friends now.
We're friends now.
Now we have been doing it big all month long on this channel. And I thought, why not end Cinema Versus Black History Month with, in my opinion, some of the best directors that have done it from the ground up. When I talk about getting it out of the mud, these are two of the directors that come to mind for me. Yes, we all love to talk about Tyler Perry. We gotta give it to those that came before him. We have to talk about Keenan Ivory Wayans and Robert Townsend. These two men have a unique filmography because they're not just directors. They're also writers and actors. And they're not just known for film, they're also known for like television as well. We're gonna keep it strictly cinema because if we talk about their television roles and their television history, this is super lopsided, and I'm going to be honest. The range on these two men right here is wild because, yes, I know Keenan Ivory Wayans created In Living Color. And whenever the Wayans do anything as a family, they refer back to the eldest brother, Keenen. But Robert Townsend also had Parenthood as well. And if you are a 90s kid, I probably just unlocked the memory for you. But yes, we're going to keep it strictly filmography. I'm going to get right into it. We're going to get right into round one, and it is the filmography. So Robert Townsend is an alchemist. He gave us the greatest musical drama of all time, even though, again, if you're not new to this channel, if you have followed me or watched any of my videos, you know how much I revere this director. I love Robert Townsend. I have reacted to 2 of his movies on my channel. The very first ever Cinema Versus was the 5 Heartbeats versus Dreamgirls, and people get mad at me whenever I tell them that Dreamgirls won.
How dare you!
So he gave us one of the best musical dramas of all time, which is The 5 Heartbeats. And he's also given us the first Black superhero fable on film, which is The Meteor Man. And people were willing to like take away my black card when I told them that at 34, almost 35, because my birthday is next week. When I told them that I never saw Meteor Man, they were willing to take away my black card. And while doing my research for this episode, I finally understood why. Because, like, it is awesome. The 3rd episode of season 1 of Cinema Versus was Holiday Horror versus Tu Wong Fu. And yes, that was a lopsided episode. But I really just wanted to use that as a vehicle to bring light to one of a underrated classics, which is Holiday Heart. He's given us Baps, Carmen, the hip opera, which in my opinion, is a misunderstood classic, and we need to go back and revisit it again. And Jackie's Back, the beloved mockumentary. Again, I have done a reaction to this movie on my channel. And if you did not know, he did direct Eddie Murphy's Raw. Robert Townsend has honestly moved between genres, and he's painted things in such a way that it's a masterpiece. He has, like I said, he has done comedy, drama, superhero films. Like, this man is really an alchemist in every aspect of the form. But Keenan is a disruptor. He didn't just make movies, he conquered genres. He has given us a blueprint on parodies and satire between I'm Gonna Get You Sucka and the Scary Movie 1 and 2, which was so good that they had to steal it from him. Scary Movie 3 was decent because they still had the blueprint of what they would have done for 3, but by the time we got to 4 and 5 and all the other ones, like, it was so watered down because they thought that they understood the formula, but they didn't have the sauce because the Wayans weren't there to put their fingerprints on it. He was the producer for Dance Flick. He was the producer for Don't Be a Menace in South Central While Drinking Your Juice in the Hood, which is one of the reasons why I started watching these movies that traumatized the hell out of me.
I kind of feel sorry for you. Oh, yeah.
I mean, Scary Movie alone is a film that made $300 million and a movie that changed comedy for an entire decade. After the success of Scary Movie, we had all kinds of parodies that were not that great. Vampire movie, disaster movie. And it was because of the direction of the Wayans. Keenan Ivory Wayans gave us A Low Down Dirty Shame. He directed White Chicks. He directed Little Man. And though Little Man was not revered for its writing, if you look at the direction of Little Man and how well they blended the CGI of making Marlon look believable for him to be a small person, especially for the years that it came out, Keenan was pretty on point with that. Townsend gives you feel good, and the Wayans, Keenan in particular, gives you big, bold business. Round 2, the iconic role. This is about their iconic standard, the work that defines their legacy. For Robert Townsend, the legacy begins with Hollywood Shuffle. And yes, I know Keenen was in Hollywood Shuffle and was a major part of how Hollywood Shuffle came to be. But this wasn't just a movie. This was a declaration of independence. Robert Townsend was tired of being offered roles about pimps and slaves and being a punchline. He maxed out his credit cards and shot a film using leftover stock from other productions. That's why there were so many vignettes. But there was no studio, no safety net, just conviction. And Hollywood Shuffle exposed the absurdity of Hollywood's racism by holding up a mirror and laughing without losing its soul. And again, Keenan Ivory Wayans helped with that. But when we talk about the crown jewel of his filmography, of the Robert Townsend filmography, again, I'm going to have to go back to my very first episode of Cinema Versus, which is The Five Heartbeats. The Five Heartbeats isn't a parody. It's actually a preservation. Some people think that The Five Heartbeats is basically a Temptations remake, but it was about an amalgamation of soulful boy bands at the time. And Townsend gave us Black Brotherhood, Black Artistry, Black Ambition, Black Tragedy, all without exploitation. He let Black men be vulnerable, brilliant, and flawed, but fully human. And yes, it did lose to Dreamgirls in the official poll. But when I tell you that people want to have my head, I don't choose winners. I never choose the winners. I don't even vote in these things. But I tell you, people get mad at me like, how the hell you let the 5 heartbeats lose? I never vote. So if you don't like the results of these results, baby, you need to vote. And not just comment. Because I can't just be like, oh, this is the comment, this is the comment, this is the comment. I be posting the results of the polls, okay? If you don't like these polls results, I need you to get into the community tab, like post your vote. To this day, I still believe that Duck should have beat his brother's ass. Okay? I don't understand how he be so damn forgiving. But nonetheless, we're gonna move on. Now for Keenan Ivory Wayans, the debut for him is I'm Gonna Get You Sucka. And this was a parody about blaxploitation films. But it wasn't just a parody, it wasn't just a satire, it was a reclamation. It honored the genre, all while dismantling it and its excesses, proving that the Black creators could critique their own mythology and still sell tickets while doing it. I mean, it had some of the biggest figures in blaxploitation in it, and still was a love letter at the same time. But Keenen didn't stop there. If we're talking about his commercial magnum opus, hate it or love it, in his filmography, it might just have to be White Chick. This movie was a global phenomenon. Quoted, memed, cosplayed, studied. This movie is in such high demand that they demand that this movie get remade to this day. To this day. And yes, it looks like we might be getting a White Chicks too after we get a Scary Movie 6. And it proved that Keenen not only understood the idea of what comedy can be, and although this movie has been tried to get canceled multiple times over the years, he understood something very specific. Mass appeal is power. You know what's ironic about both of these men's debuts? Both of these men used their debuts as writers, as directors, to critique and satire the state of film from a Black point of view. It was about the state of Black in film itself. And not only is that funny, it's also a testament of their friendship because Keenen helped fund and help write Hollywood Shuffle. And together they worked on 5 productions in the early stages of their career. Because not only did Robert Townsend direct Eddie Murphy's Raw, but Keenan Ivory Wayans has a writing credit in like a skit for Eddie Murphy's Raw. One aims for the heart of the culture, and the other aims for the center of the market. The spiritual archetypes. Robert Townsend embodies temperance. As I've already said, he is the alchemist. He takes pain and possibility, frustration and faith, and pours them into the same cup until balance is achieved. His work never rushes. He listens and heals and asks, how do we stay human in an industry that profits from distortion? Robert Townsend films aren't loud. They're intentional. They don't dominate, they endure. Think about the 5 Heartbeats, Holiday Heart, Jackie's Back, even Carmen the Hip Opera, which had an MTV budget, but it still has that Robert Townsend je ne sais quoi. When it comes to Keenan Ivory Wayans and him being the Chariot, he's the driver, right? In tarot, the Chariot is like, imagine being in a self-driving car. It does not stop going until it reaches its destination. That's Keenan Ivory Wayans. He takes chaos and control, satire and spectacle, and harnesses them with precision. Keenen moves with velocity. He understands timing, momentum, and scale, and he does not wait for permission. He crosses the finish line first. I mean, who else do you know can take one person and bring 5011 brothers and sisters into the whole industry and change the game. Literally, that's a Wayans thing. I mean, the closest thing I can think of is like Chris Rock, maybe Eddie Murphy, but not to the degree of a Wayans. Where Townsend refines, Keenen accelerates. Where Townsend restores, Keenen conquers. Both paths are valid, and both paths are extremely necessary. Which leads me to the cultural impact. Long before there was ever Tyler Perry, we had Keenan Ivory Wayans and Robert Townsend. And these gentlemen made it a point to hire black faces on screen, behind the scenes. These two were basically the hiring managers of Black Hollywood. But look at how they built their dynasty. Keenen practiced what I call horizontal nepotism. Because when we think of nepotism, we think of Nepo babies, right? We think of like Kate Hudson is the daughter of this. Maya Hawke is the daughter of Ethan Hawke and Uma Thurman. But no, nepotism is you just being related to somebody. So if there was no Keenan Ivory Wayans, there'd be no Sean and Marlon and Kim and all of them, which then would not, and Damon, and then there would be no Damon Wayans Jr. and he would not be coaching New Girl. Like there'd be no nepotism across the aisle. He built a self-sustaining comedy ecosystem. And by the time Charlotte and Marlon were doing White Chicks and Don't Be a Menace, they weren't just Keenan's brothers anymore. They were self-sustaining on their own merit. And that was because of the platform that he built. And let's not even talk about all the stars that In Living Color gave us. A huge, huge platform of people.
Back in 1992, the Super Bowl halftime performance was a show called Winter Magic. Which, nobody was watching that mess. Fox decided to counter-program CBS with In Living Color. Producer Keenan Ivory Wayans decided to premiere In Living Color during the same time as the halftime Super Bowl show. This brought over 29 million views over on In Living Color. They were able to garner over 11% viewership of the Super Bowl halftime show on In Living Color. Due to the massive viewership, Fox was like, homie, don't play that.
I don't think so. Homie, don't play that.
So they, next year in 1993, premiered to add Michael Jackson, the Michael Jackson, as the halftime Super Bowl performance.
Robert Townsend, on the other hand, he built a legacy of elite craft. He too spawned another generation of his own. If you watch a Black Lady sketch show, season 2, when Quinta was no longer a part of the show because she started Abbott Elementary, which is a phenomenal television show, we were introduced to a new girl, Sky Townsend, and she was hilarious. It took me season 3 to realize that she's the daughter of Robert Townsend. She didn't just get the job, she mastered the craft. And now she's on The Neighborhood. The Townsend name stands for precision. Besides him having his own second generation of Townsend, directors wanted a consultant. Robert Townsend wanted to save a soul. During the production of The Five Heartbeats, he was personally paying for the rehab of Temptations legend David Ruffin. Because for Robert Townsend, he wasn't just making a movie, he was building a lighthouse for his heroes. He was using this movie to pay homage to his heroes. And unfortunately, David Ruffin never got to see how far this movie was able to touch the lives of generations after. Round 5. Core fear versus core desire. The deep dive. My favorite round. I can't help it. It's like when Janet Jackson just...
I'm always doing that.
You can't help it. I'm always doing it. This is the round that tells us what they do, why they do it, and why they move the way that they do. Robert Townsend's core desire is dignity. You see it in The Five Heartbeats, and you see it off screen. As I mentioned, during the production, Robert Townsend was personally helping David Ruffin pay for rehab, and he wanted David Ruffin to see his legacy honored on screen. David Ruffin passed before that could ever happen, but the gesture tells you everything. Robert fears caricature, the reduction of Black life being told into jokes without context. So he fights for our souls. For every film is a goal to cheapen us. Even in his mockumentary of Jackie's Back, yes, there's a lot of jokes. And yes, it is Jennifer Lewis just being legendary in all that she does. But there is still heart and soul and texture in what she does, which is why I love that movie to this day. Keenan Ivory Wayans' core desire is sovereignty, ownership, control, infrastructure, which is why I believe his core fear is erasure, being edited, muted, or managed of his own creation. That's why he builds brands instead of moments. That's why he brought his family. That's why he scaled. He doesn't want a seat at the table. He built his own damn table. He built the table, the room, the house, and the 5-course meal that came on top of it. Because as I have mentioned, everything that the Wayans put their name on, they consort to Keenen to make sure that it's quality. He is the quality check for a lot, if not all, majority of their film. He wants to own the building that it's in. One fought to protect the heart of Black storytelling, and the other fought to protect and secure its power. And both battles matter, because you can't have heart without power. And honestly, what is power without heart? Because absolute power is corrupt, absolutely. That's why you need something to keep you grounded, like your family. Who takes this episode? Is it the soul of Robert Townsend or the sovereignty of Keenan Ivory Wayans? Drop your votes. Keep it cute in the comments. This has been Cinema Versus, and as usual, you already know what I'm going to say. Protect Black art, stream Black stories, and I will see y'all next week. Thank you so much for watching this week's episode. I have to say, honestly, I've been dying to do a Robert Townsend episode. And I thought, honestly, who better to match him up with than his friend? Because there's nobody like Robert Townsend and Keenan Ivory Wayans. Honestly, as comedic or dramatic writers and directors. Honestly, I could have talked about how they had their serious routes as actors as well, but I thought I'd keep it cute because, like, Keenan Ivory Wayans has his toy soldiers moment, and at one point, Robert Townsend was actually going towards the route of the Denzel Washington at one point. It almost, like, if we look at their filmographies just as actors, it felt almost like a light version of Sam versus Denzel again, because Keenen felt a little Sam-esque as far as, like, the roles that he was going for, and Robert was going very prestige-like. And I found that to be very interesting. If we talk about, like, and like I said, let's not talk about their television routes, because, again, it would be severely lopsided if we talk about, like, all the things that they have done television-wise. But I love this episode. This was honestly, like, a top tier episode personally for me. I love both of these men as directors and actors and writers. So I really hope that you've enjoyed this episode as much as I love having to rewatch and rediscover and discover, because like I said, I never saw Medium Man until like 2 weeks ago. For me, as much as I did. If you've enjoyed this episode and you made it this far and you have not joined and hit that subscribe button down there, baby, at this point you need to, because we're no longer just friends. I love you, and not just because you watched my video and you made it this far, but because you matter.
Tú también deberías de creer en ti. Vales más de lo que pienso.
And until I see you again.